Welcome to Heritage and Townscape. Those here and those watching online. Chair's opening remarks. A couple of things that the Chair was committing to do over the nice break that we had when we don't have to do anything. He didn't do anything. So anyway, that was the Chair's opening remarks. Number two, apologies for absence received.
And we've received apologies from Councillor Morehouse and Councillor Black.
So Councillor Morehouse and Councillor Black.
Yes.
Thank you very much. We've got one absence. Okay, that's Councillor Carter. Number three, declarations of interest. To receive any declarations of disclosable pecuniary interest from members in respect of business to be transacted on the agenda. Do we have anybody? No, I think we can move on from there. And number four, minutes of the Heritage and Townscape Committee, the previous one, to receive the minutes of the Heritage and Townscape Committee held on Wednesday the 9th July 2025, and to consider any matters arising from those minutes not covered elsewhere in the agenda. Decision. And Councillor Schuker.
So a couple of questions in terms of progress on items. So 07259 climate change. There was an offer, kind one, from Councillors Mallet, Pennington, and with the involvement of Keith Heaven, to help draft the document in terms of responding to climate change. Did anything happen, or is it in train?
As per my comments, nothing at the moment. I think we can.
No, maybe not.
Well, I did locate the deal climate change document, and we had a look at it. It seems very long,
yes,
firstly, and not very accessible. And we need to work together to try and put forward a draft which is more concise, if possible, on one page, which is much more accessible and much more user-friendly.
Yeah. And I do note that the incoming town clerk has expressed an interest in climate change. So maybe that we can include the town clerk in that once they have time.
Yeah. So could we add it to the action log? It's only because it's not only because, but because it's on our business plan.
Yes.
And it's for this year's delivery.
Yeah. So if we can add that as the action log.
Next one, sorry, is more. It's more.
Go for it.
072510 Sandwich Resilience Emergency Plan. Councillor Mallet to bring an outline draft of resilience plan for members' feedback and remain at the next HT meeting. I think I know the answer to that one.
Yes, you do.
Do we need the next one?
Yes, but we'll put it on the action log as well.
Yeah, fantastic.
We'll commit to that. My comments, having looked at other emergency plans, the key things that I wanted to pick up on are where is communication coming from? In that, what is not emphasised, even in the Dover emergency plan, which goes to pages and pages of it. The public aren't told where to look. So there has to be one point, because if you go on to, for example, Facebook, there's 10 to 20 different sandwich Facebook pages. There's the council Facebook page, there's the council website, there's all sorts of social media, so we actually have to be able to have one. But we can move on from that to see how we can get to the next one.
And then finally, there was 072512 signage in Sandwich. I'd have to go back to the recording and see the context, but it says it was referred to this meeting. So we have got rail signage, but I don't think it's that.
No, that's a different one.
That would be my. I think now that you've pointed it out, they were two separate things. I think I was meant to amalgamate them into one to make it, because it's talking about signage in general. So apologies if I didn't make that very clear. But you're right, signage was asked to be back on this particular agenda.
Do we know what we mean by signage?
It's I believe it was the fingerboards, the town's fingerboards that are quite a problem at the moment.
Okay, so we haven't got it on the agenda now, so we'd have to take it to the next meeting.
Again, can we put that in? Now, is that an action log? Because that's something that would be hopefully done and dusted. Maybe it can go on the action log just to make sure it does go there, and then we can keep it there until it's dealt with.
And that's it from me.
Right, thank you. Anybody else, anything to raise from the minutes of the previous meeting?
I'm happy to propose we accept them.
Thank you very much, and if we can have a vote on that. A seconder, please. Councillor Pennington is seconding, and a vote. And
I'm abstaining because I wasn't here.
Abstaining because I wasn't present.
there. Right. And if we can have a review of the action log, basically we're going to run through the action log and anything that has happened, which allows us to keep up to date with things. So we have urban update and urban actions. I think that was climate change. I think the last one, 220525, climate change to be added as a permanent agenda item, which we just agreed to just now. I'm just going to go run through these. If anybody does want to raise anything about any of these, contractor completed work restoring the plaques and the war memorial. Do we have anything about the war memorial?
No, I'm really sorry. I have to say I haven't been able to chase that.
Not a problem.
Make sure.
Yeah, we can have a look at that just to make sure that something is happening there. Bus shelter needs to be at least partially enclosed. Do we have any movement on that?
I think last reviews we'd asked for a further breakdown regarding the funds in further detail, but we've not received anything yet.
Okay.
Can I just clarify, because I understood that that was an action the town clerk was taking forward, so can you double check that she has done that, just in case it's dropped down a gap somewhere?
And the committee discussed the possibility of constructing a ramp from the quay path through the courtyard of Ainsley Court. That's still in my area. I had spoken to Kelly Green with regard to that. She's recommended going to the planning office, and my next option is to actually write to planning to ask if we need planning permission. Hopefully they will say no, and we can go the next step, which I think is getting potentially some quotes. Councillor Ripley?
Yes, it's not exactly to do with Ainsley Court, although obviously that's in port. Are we going anywhere further with the toll bridge about the lights on there? Do we know?
It's down the action, if you look at the action.
Oh, is it down there? All right, then I'll shut up and wait.
Members received correspondence, received Network Rail. This is an area that Councillor Black is interested in. Councillor Black will escalate the issue, so we'll leave that in the action log and pending Councillor Black presence at the next meeting. It was raised at the Heritage Townscape Committee in July about a comprehensive report provided by the Sandwich Tree Warden in relation to the climate emergency, which needed to be considered by all members to be included on the climate change agenda item going forward. I think we're Councillor Ripley.
Yes, I had another meeting with our tree warden, voluntary tree warden, a few weeks back, and I've got a load of stuff here that will need a separate, time to speak about it. But are we saying that we're including the trees as a separate item on the agenda every time? Because that was my request last time.
Oh, okay, my misunderstanding. I thought it was agreed that the trees would come under climate change.
Right. Mm.
But maybe I misread it, misunderstood, so I can go back and double check the video.
Okay. You might be right, I don't know. But I think it's an important enough issue to warrant
Examine,
Yeah. Okay, so we're moving on from that one. Next one here, to arrange a pre-meeting at the toll bridge. That was to do with, we have had the meetings, this is with Sir Roger Gale. I think we had, the mayor had suggested speaking to the new reform representative. I don't know whether you were having an opportunity.
Yes, so I did a walk around in June, and one of the items we covered was the toll bridge. So he fully understood the issues around it. I also provided some briefing material to him after that. I've not had any response. I have followed it up with him again, and I'm still waiting a response. But there are half a dozen items that I've asked him to respond on. I mean, to be fair to him, he has responded on a couple.
Yeah.
But the meaty ones, which is this one and the bus stop,
Yes.
not yet.
In that case, if we can leave this until the next meeting, because we've just been through the August break, when realistically nothing much happens, so I don't think we can expect action over that period. Oh, sorry, Councillor Ripley.
I think this is something we should be pushing really hard for now. I know the bus stop is important, but we're talking about potentially loss of life on the toll bridge. I was walking across this a couple of days ago, and I'm not exaggerating, a bus came up by the side of me. It was no more than 6 inches away. As it went round the corner to go up High Street, it went right over the pavement to get round that bend. I mean, that is a serious accident waiting to happen there.
Is it worthwhile, I wonder, raising this and trying to get the press involved?
Yeah,
Right.
anything that moves it forward, I would suggest.
My opinion on that personally, due to recent press releases that have been made regarding sandwich, some of it's not been very accurate. So I do feel that it will be misled.
Yes.
So I think I don't think that's a good idea at the moment.
I agree. There's something afoot at the moment,
Yeah.
and I don't know who's feeding the media, but
Sorry.
they're quite skewed.
They are. Yeah.
Sorry,
Mrs. George?
but I would agree with Councillor Ripley that the other issue that we've got, because we've been down obviously doing a lot of watering on the quay, the level of traffic coming over that bridge in both directions has definitely increased. I mean, I know we don't have a proper count, but having done it quite a few years ago, it's constant. I mean, a lot of it is just there to cut through. They're not coming into the town for the town's sake. They're coming over that bridge in both directions to get to Discovery Park. And of course, you've had all the odd road closures as well, which haven't actually helped because everything has had to go over that bridge when Strand Street or Ash Road has been closed in for a few hours. So it really is quite worrying, I think.
Councillor Ripley.
It's not just the cars that are going across. What concerns me more than anything, well, apart from the speed of everything that goes over, are the larger vehicles, the lorries, some of which must exceed the weight limit. They are so huge. And double-decker buses, it's just non-stop.
Councillor Pennington.
Yes, thank you. Yes, on 2 things. One is, I've noticed when the stretch of the A256 between in the roundabout with the A257 off to Canterbury and the Discovery Park, it just kept choked up almost every evening, and people try and drive through Sandwich to avoid the jams on that stretch of road. And it far exceeds the capacity of the Tilbridge junction. The second thing is if people are not considerate when they're waiting to cross into Sandwich, they block off the entrance to the houses just opposite the harbour, which I've seen causing a problem.
Councillor Perry.
Yeah, just to point out, last night about 9 o'clock, there was a lot of, they've taken up the flagstone that's on the corner. As you go over the bridge, turn left around the Barbican, where the buses go over, that flagstone's broken it, so they've taken it out and they've placed tarmac in it. So that needs to be chased up, whether they can replace the stones back, put the stones back like they had before at No Name Street. So, yeah, that needs to be looked at because it doesn't look very pleasant.
Yes. Is that something that we can do? I'm not really sure what we can do at all at the moment.
Yes, so that's what I was going to come back in on. we can be all very unhappy, which we are, regards it, but I don't know what levers we've got when we have engaged our local MP, and he's deferred it to our KCC councillor, who has it in his hands now to progress it. I don't think there's much else we can do without prodding our local KCC councillor to try and do something about it, because it doesn't matter how much noise we make, unless something happens, and I don't believe KCC are going to pay much attention.
No, because this is why I've suggested if we can involve the press with some management from themselves, if we feed the story, then it's not somebody else getting in there and saying the council aren't interested.
I get where you're coming from. Sorry, just to make a point to you, what you just said, Councillor Burnett. I get what you mean, and we all believe it would be a positive thing. However, a lot of the stuff that's been pushed in the local press, especially, is being misconstrued, and a lot of it's been twisted, and it's deeply concerning at the moment. So I do feel it's we should.
Is it? I'm so sorry. I've got to.
We know from all those years ago when we did Lorry Watch that the only way to make Kent move was to actually prove what was happening. And should we be doing a traffic count coming over the bridge in both ways over from different days and different times of the day?
But I'm sorry, Councillor.
Okay. Yeah, I was just going to say, I don't think we should sit back and just wait all the time. Things get put off for months, years otherwise. I think we need to take more positive action, and if that includes involving our Kent councillor, that's the one, our Kent councillor, then I think we should make a concerted effort to get them involved with us.
Which we have done.
Yeah, but we can do it again. We can
Yeah,
keep
last
doing it.
wrote to him on Monday this week.
Councillor was suggesting about the traffic count. Who do you think would do that? Are there people within us volunteers, or would it be
Well, we had
the
a-
council? I know
We
it
got
was
18
historical.
and 18 people that did the Lorry Watch count over 7 days a week, from 7 in the morning till 7 at night, at 4 different entry points coming into Sandwich. So that was if you like, it was the key people who wanted to get involved, but actually it was an enormous response because they were so concerned then about the heavy vehicles, and not necessarily just the sheer volume of traffic, but those heavy vehicles, as Councillor Ripley said, I think have increased tremendously. I mean, I dread to think what would happen because we got it down from one every something like 30 minutes to one every 6 minutes, but I would suspect that has really increased by now. And if we look at a traffic count and how far back, perhaps up the Strand Street and coming across from Discovery Park, how far back those cars go. But I mean, is it necessary for them to keep using the bridge? The lorries to be using the bridge, is it really necessary for them? Yeah, because they think it's faster than peak hours, queuing up and coming down, going around the bypass.
I think there's probably not much we can do about volume of traffic, because particularly with housing, it's a general trend, but we could do something about the weighty ones crossing the bridge in terms of, and that would highlight the issue.
And we could also
I don't know
necessarily
how big the signage
Yeah.
is.
I'm not sure of the sign.
First. Can I suggest that if we do a count, we might be distracting from the actual point of our current focus. Our current focus is pedestrians crossing the bridge, having an opportunity for people to cross. If we have a count and it shows a significant increase, that might be construed as saying, we can't have pedestrians crossing the bridge because they'll hold up these extra traffic. We don't know how it will be interpreted.
But I think you can't make any changes without evidence nowadays, can you? You have to provide the evidence.
And that's why I don't
So
think,
we
I don't
can't
think
see
that-
what the problem is until the evidence.
And I don't think there is a media story there at the moment. You haven't got a hook. You can say it's all very unsatisfactory, but actually why would the media jump in unless somebody falls in the water again or there's an accident again? That's the only, you need a trigger point to enable the media to take
The
place.
other thing is, I agree with what Councillor Tuke is saying, we could also put some more pressure on the KCC member, and if he doesn't respond and doesn't engage with the council, then that can be put towards the press. We have a councillor here that's not doing anything for our town that we've asked him to do. So that might possibly be an idea, but later on, not straight away.
I think, yeah, certainly give the our KCC councillor an opportunity, but of course we've also got the reorganisation coming.
Yeah.
Can we move on? Oh,
Yes.
Mr. Wiles?
Am I allowed to speak?
Yes, go for it. I'm the chair, I can say yes.
You talked about evidence. From what I can see, that it's the phasing of the traffic lights is a key thing.
Yes.
Because I'd like to see evidence of this, but during the day, it allows 3 or 4 cars to cross into the town. And in peak periods, it's more like 9 or 10.
Yes.
And I understand KCC's argument is they have to keep traffic flowing because the bypass is blocked. But if that was tweaked, it would increase the queues, but it would maybe help to solve
Yes, because we're looking
the
at
number of cars coming through.
during the day.
And that's what's been asked.
Yeah.
Can I just make one point, going back to the pedestrian thing, is that, why do cars and vehicles always take precedence over pedestrians?
Oh, totally.
I mean, that is totally unacceptable as far as I'm concerned, especially as the other day, when I'd nearly been run over, there were young kids crossing to get back from school. You know, it's just.
And Councillor
So the 2 points.
Doscombe.
So yes, the 2 points that Councillor Wiles, Councillor Ripley made. So the comment regarding the lights, they are on a sensor system. So early mornings when I leave for work and I drive over, it's the bridge is always on red on all sides. As soon as you come up to the sensor, you run over the sensor, the lights change instantly and off you go. It works off who's there, and then if it's busy traffic, then it starts going into a timing system. So that allows a certain amount of cars, a certain amount of seconds each area. What was the thing about? What did you say?
Why do pedestrians take second place to
The rules changed by central government a few years ago in the highway code. The pedestrians now have right of way for crossings and crossing junctions and stuff.
Perhaps we need to make that a bit clearer to our faces.
So one thing I can offer to do, KCC have a community engagement officer for Dover and Thanet. She's also responsible, she's part of the Road Safety and Active Travel Group. I've got her phone number, I'll give her a call and just to see what scope, knowing that we've already raised it with our KCC council. I will have a conversation with her to see what is feasible, what is possible. It may be nothing, but at least I've got a slight route into KCC.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, I'll do that.
Can I make a very quick other point? Is it worth pursuing and asking what kind of investigations happened after the person ended up in the river? Because it seems to have been very dampened down.
None of it.
Were there risk assessments or anything?
I think he was dampened down. But
Sorry. Yeah.
I didn't see it in the media, I'm not sure.
Yeah, but they would have an obligation, if that's a near miss really, wasn't it, serious incident, what investigations happened and what they concluded.
Yeah, so that's a hook I could use in terms of compensation.
Thank you.
Yeah. And finally, we move on, Heritage and Townscape member projects, community transport, bike racks, street furniture, slow ways, national walking, network parking and speeding. Does anybody have any additional comments on this? Councillor Chuka?
Just on the street furniture one, I think the next STC will be taking a report on the community caretaker scheme coming across, assuming we agree to accept it, because we haven't done anything up to this point in terms of engineering where we are, because it's DDC driven. And if we do accept it, then what I've already talked to Councillor Wiles about, so it's good he's here, he might want to get involved in that. And one thing we could roll into it is the street furniture project. It shouldn't be separate, it should be part of it. And then the second thing is DDC have got a town sprucer, thank you, at the moment. And I spoke to Kelly Green. When it's a town sprucer, it means the whole district has got a town sprucer.
One person for that.
Yeah, one person, and it's a 6-month contract. But I shared with Kelly yesterday, a list of items from the street project that that person could include in their work that they do for Sandwich.
Can I just ask what their work involves exactly?
Sprucing. So basically, it's a handy person whose name is Andy, I think. Who will go out and about and spruce things up. So one thing they did in Dover was a simple thing was clean a number of rubbish bins, waste bins, on the outside, and apparently the feedback was very very positive. I've included a little bit more than that, like graffiti taken off of posts and stuff. It's that level of stuff.
Right.
Just to follow on what Councillor Tudor just said regarding the community caretakers, this is what we used to be all about. So so I'm very keen to work with Mr Mayor and obviously Councillor Wiles and see if we can rejuvenate it.
Yeah, because it only works if you've got one.
Yes, exactly that. Yeah.
Just to comment on Andy the sprucer.
Andy.
We're public. Yes. Is that if the sprucer is sprucing, can volunteers join him in that? Because if you have insurance and all of this.
Yeah, there's that straight away. That's an issue. You have to overcome things like risk assessments and unwritten undertakings, etc., etc. This is a short, sharp project, 6 months. I don't know if it's a precursor to hopefully getting someone adopted permanently, but this person is available. But obviously, Sandwich will only get a slice of that person's time. Yes, this is true.
Can we establish? A bit controversial, but can we establish what our own road guys are supposed to do within their remit? Because when we're in the quay, we are now clearing all the weeds. The roads themselves, the gutters get full of weed. If you just walk around the town on the pavements and stuff, they're all full of weeds. And the guys are really busy, and I'm not saying they're not working, they are, but they're busy emptying local rubbish bins most of the time, which are half full with residents' rubbish as well. You see them when they come out. But if they were able to do the job that they were supposed to do, actually the curbs and things would be clear of weed and rubbish because they have time to actually sweep it. And I don't think they have got time to sweep it, mainly because they are nearly always emptying rubbish bins. So if we knew what their actual job description was, maybe we could find out how we can target the job description to actually what they're supposed to be doing. Because they do work, the summer was awful, and they were walking backwards and forwards with all that rubbish all the time, but that wasn't doing. And perhaps they're not supposed to do it, but they've got brooms and hose on their trolleys, and what they're for.
Councillor Marie?
I can answer some of it. So they're on a 12-hour shift every day. There's 3 of them. They predominantly are street sweepers. So they're basically predominantly just to pick up litter. The weeds were terrible this year in town. They were because of the weather. Because 1 minute it's raining, next minute it's sunny. 1 minute it's raining, next minute it's sunny. The other thing is it 2 weeks ago that they had the sprayers going around the town to spray it, and it's died all of them. It's killed all of them off. I think it's a health and safety thing regarding them using pesticides. Regarding another thing regarding the community caretaker scheme is regarding the community caretakers, this is what that's all about. It was getting the community involved in making the town cleaner, and it was de-weeding and clearing hedges down and brambles and one kind of thing, and making pathways clearer for people to walk through. The job description can be looked at, but they do work hard, the guys that do work in the town. Really do.
Yeah, I wasn't.
No, I'm not saying you wasn't. No.
I can see what they're doing, but.
Would it be appropriate to try to identify actual difficult areas of the town now that a sprucer could work on? Because if we can't, our ambition to have a town sprucer, even one for ourselves, feels a bit weak. If I'm scouring my brain, mentally going around the town now, trying to think of graffiti areas or particularly bad areas for litter, that we could go to TDC and say, can you send the town sprucer to this point?
Councillor Chuka and Councillor Maria.
So I have logged 111 items, I think, along the town trail alone, which is from the bus to the quay. Within those 111, about 40% need work on them, from taking graffiti off to cleaning, but up to the level of actually refurbishing benches, etc. So I think got more than enough in the short term. I suppose the opportunities, if we know that that role becomes permanent, if it does, then maybe we've got a greater claim in it. I think because it's already underway, and it's been underway for, I think, at least a month, I think we're in a bit of a catch-up. So I don't think we can give a long list, is what I'm trying to say, for a short period. But there, any corner, any street, any road in this town, there's something that could be done.
All right, can we move on?
Yeah, can do, yeah. This is going to follow up.
That's the action we're all done. If we move on to number 6, public participation. 20-minute session is set aside for members of the public to make representation at the meeting in respect of business on the agenda. I won't say anything, say that a lot, but we don't have any applicants for public participation. So we'll move on to number 7, disability access strategy. Members to consider how access across Sandwich can be improved. I know that we're going to be speaking about Fellowship Walk in a moment, which is on essentially on that level. If I can just make a comment on Ainsley Court, I spoke to Kerry Green with regard to ascertaining who the optimum contact is. Unfortunately, she wasn't able to give a specific name in terms of who makes ramps, essentially, and recommended going to planning, which is my next step, is basically to go to planning and say, do we need planning permission? If they come back and say, no, you don't need planning permission, essentially, I would propose then to go to builders and say, can you do it? Can you do it?
Yes, we
How
can.
much? Yes, yes, we can, yeah. Bob the builder.
Oh, we've got too small.
Yeah. And I presume at that point we go for, well, at least the first quote, and I suppose 3 quotes, and see if we can identify money. Yeah. I think will be, but let's wait until we know how much is the rub. Yeah, but I think that will be most likely the case. Keith, were you at that? No, you were. Anything else on disability access strategy that we should raise at the moment? I'll move on in that case to tourism. Verbal updates from the tourism forum. Now, normally that's Ian that comments on that. Is there anybody else who would like to make any comments with regard to tourism?
Yeah, well, only to say we haven't had a meeting, have we? The last meeting, I think Councillor Black updated us on, and we haven't had another meeting since then.
Right.
So you may have the latest information that was there.
Only on the minutes.
Yes.
And Councillor,
Just an update for you. So the last 2 weeks, you've had 16 coaches go through the town, doing 2-hour visits at a time. I've brought 3 of them in personally.
were they expecting to come here? They were on the way to deal and
I'll pass it on the loading bay outside the waiting area, coffee while they're sitting there now. That's part of it is Viking cruises and Sava cruises and stuff like that. They were all coming down, so it's quite popular. So yeah.
That's excellent. That's good. Councillor, okay.
Just very briefly, I'm sure everybody knows, because I don't stop going on about it. Heritage Open Day is this weekend. Thank you. Could you?
See it's on the camera.
13th and 14th, this Saturday and Sunday. Lots going on. I'm being round virtually all of the eateries, et cetera, to inform them of what's happening so that they can perhaps make, consideration of getting extra stuff in for the weekend. Tomorrow on the market, there's a Heritage Open Day stall, so if anybody wants to come along to that. And assuming it doesn't teem with rain for the whole weekend, hopefully it'll be a good
Yes.
weekend.
Councillor Pennington.
Oh, I'd just like to thank Councillor Ripley, she's done an enormous amount of work on this. We had a meeting here last Wednesday, and how many volunteers were there?
Over 20.
20 volunteers, so it shows
Yes.
the
And I've got
kind
another couple since.
of ability to mobilise people, but it's a huge undertaking, and I do hope people turn up for it.
They will.
Thank you, Martin.
Councillor Wells?
Yeah, the next meeting of the forum, I'm bringing a report about a blue plaque scheme.
Yes.
Which is something that's been on my
Yeah.
list for some time. I'd like to lead on that outside my role as a councillor, just because I think it would be a good thing for the town, for the townscape, to celebrate notable residents and to promote tourism.
Yes. Is this something that you want to expand on in this meeting? Because we have the opportunity.
Not really. I've spoken to the chair of the Ramsgate Society. They have a very successful scheme. It's really following their lead, and I mean, there's various elements to it. It's researching the person, the property. That has to be the right property, otherwise you're in trouble. The funding, listed building consent, all that kind of thing, and agreeing the wording of the plaque.
Yeah.
And then installing it, sourcing it, and installing it.
And paying for it.
Sorry?
And
And paying for it, yeah, funding.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Anything else on tourism? No, if we can move on then to, in this case, number 9, Fellowship Walk. If I can pass over to Councillor Wiles, who's asked for this to be included.
Yes, this is part of disability access, I guess, because a couple of residents have approached me about the slope up from alongside Fellowship Walk up to the town to the road walk, and that they can't manage that either going up or coming down. I think one was going up, one was coming down, I'm not sure. But they said a handrail there would be a great help for improving mobility through the town. Otherwise they have to go around the main streets. If they say they want to come from the cattle market car park to the station, they can't go that way because of the lack of a handrail. So I don't know if this is something that this committee could fund, or we could get volunteers to fund it. I mean, we could source the materials quite easily. Someone would need to contact the conservation officer just to check on the protocol for putting posts on a scheduled monument and so on, but it shouldn't be a difficult project.
Councillor Chicker?
So it's not a new request. So if we go back over a year ago, I believe Councillor Ungerson referred to this, and I think others possibly as well. The funding isn't currently in the budget, but we're halfway through the year, so if somebody's going to own this project, there's no reason why they can't progress it, because by the time it's concluded, we'll be into next year's round of funding. But I think you've already highlighted a couple of issues there straight away, because of course we don't own that land. It's close to the ancient monument, so I don't think the actual construction won't be difficult. I think it's the engagement with stakeholders that will be more challenging, if somebody's willing to take on that challenge.
I'm willing to contact the Heritage and Conservation Officer just to see if this permission is required. And I mean, in terms of funding, I would think it's fairly a cheap project to find the materials. And I would imagine that the metal fence post would be more practical than pouring concrete into post holes.
Right. Oh, sorry, Councillor Ripley.
My understanding is, and I may well be wrong, is that health and safety issues take precedence over every other issue. So I would have thought, regardless of the fact that it's part of the scheduled monument or whatever, health and safety should come first, so that might be a way of progressing it.
I could try and source a couple of witness statements to, back up the need for it.
In that case, can we?
Yeah, I'll
Yes.
take it on.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thanks. Chamber of Commerce, that's number 10. That's another item that Councillor Wiles would like to raise for us.
Okay, so I'll try and be brief on this. This was an action in the business plan that was agreed by the council earlier this year to encourage the creation of a representative and active Chamber of Commerce that will both promote the town and its retail and hospitality offer, but also act as a single point of contact for consultations and decision making. And that was given to this committee to progress. So I don't know if there's anyone on this committee that wishes to take that forward. I'm happy to work with them or work on it on my own. But just the background to this is that clearly retail and hospitality is suffering around the country. I can think of at least 8 businesses that have closed in the last year or so in Sandwich. You probably all know what they are. Other towns are suffering much more. Ramsgate has 1 in 4 shops empty currently. So all of those businesses are closed for different reasons, but you can see there's a kind of trend there. And we don't have a representative and active Chamber of Commerce currently. The town is, I think, suffering because of that. There's no one that we can go to as a council, DDC or anyone else to get a view about business and hospitality in the town generally. There's lots of different opinions and it's very hard to get a common view. So I think there is a need for an effective chamber. Just to be clear, Sandwich Town Council has no role, no duty or power to deal with retail or hospitality. It's not a parish council function, but I do think clearly tourism is a power that we have and that we exercise. And tourism and retail and hospitality are to some extent 2 sides of the same coin. So I think we have a kind of leadership role to take this on for the good of the town, for the good of the townscape, for the good of the tourism offer. And if we don't do it, who else is going to do it? I'm not suggesting we run a Chamber of Commerce or that we get involved in the administration, but just that we try and act as a catalyst to get the businesses to take this on. I've spoken to Richard Harris, or I've been in touch with Richard Harris. He and Dan Friend are the current signatories of the current dormant Chamber of Commerce. It is a dormant body. His suggestion is that Sandwich teams up with the East Kent Chambers of Commerce, which covers both Thanet and Dover, and they're a much more active, high-powered organisation. There are only 2 active, from what I can see, there's only 2 kind of active chambers in this area, which is Deal and Walmer and Broadsteads and St Peters. So whether Sandwich on its own can sustain a chamber, I don't know. But I guess the starting point is to seek the views of this committee and perhaps then just write to all the businesses in the town, of which there must be over 100, I would think, to say, is there anyone out there who's willing to take this on? There's lots of new businesses in the town, so maybe some of those people are willing to take on the work to get a new chamber, either a new chamber for Sandwich up and running or to engage with the East Kent Chamber of Commerce.
Councillor Lee.
Yeah. Well, Councillor Wiles said what I was pretty much going to say. So the 2 people, obviously, there is a Chamber of Commerce in the town, but it's dormant. So my feelings would be to see if it could be resurrected kind of thing. There is money in the bank still for that. There are 3 types of Chamber of Commerce regarding the town. But Sandwich is open, but that's more of a business empire. You've got obviously the main Chamber of Commerce we have, which businesses were paying subsidy for that as well. And also you have the Compass Group, but they are just predominantly just a group of shops that want to promote the town, and they've been remarkable. What I'll say the last couple of years of what they've done, what they've achieved. Those maps fly out like hotcakes that they've created. So my advice would be if Council Wiles, whoever, I'm happy to help, is to see if we can re-engage with the current two people that are in the dormant Chamber of Commerce and put the feelers out there to people to say, right, if they don't want to do it, it's unsecure, they don't want to do it, give it to someone else to do it. There's one there that's really like.
Yes, thank you. I had an experience in Westgate where we started a business forum. The principles of it were that the council gave it an initial push, but it should be, if it was, taken over by some of the businesses and people who were running businesses in the town. It didn't have any powers, of course, it was purely consultative, but on that basis, it worked quite well. I'm not quite sure that the Chamber of Commerce as such, which has a nationwide structure, is the right way to go about it. I think something very local and informal might work better. I do know the people who run the East Kent Chamber of Commerce, it could be followed up with them. But as I say, I think something a bit more informal and local might work better. I know that several of the businesses in the town, particularly the shops, are working together. They have already a sort of network, and they arrange things like, evening shopping and so on. So there is some degree within that specific area of coordination. To take it much wider, I think you need to launch a more encompassing, if I can use the word, initiative.
The Chamber of Commerce that currently exists for Sandwich is active on Discovery Park, is it not? Not anymore.
No.
Because that's where,
It hasn't been active, so the Chamber of Commerce hasn't been active since this administration came into effect.
3 years.
3 years.
The East Kent Chamber of Commerce is based in the Discovery Park.
Yeah.
Maybe that's.
right, so perhaps that's where it was, because, and you're right, because I know when the Compass Group set up,
They set it up because the Chamber of Commerce
Correct.
folded itself.
and they didn't want the formality of the,
Correct.
group,
Yeah.
yes. And also then, because of that, they couldn't access the fund that was sat there, and therefore they poured their own money at the
Self-funding.
beginning into doing the maps and so on, and have done a phenomenal job actually,
Yeah.
but how do you get around all of that? I'm not sure.
But we have a volunteer to kick it off.
Well, I'm happy to work with any member of this committee. I mean, my recommendation would be, as a start, just a letter from the town council, a physical letter, put through every door, saying, is there anyone out there, explaining the reasons why a chamber is important, and asking if anyone out there in the business community wants to take this on. Perhaps we could then facilitate a meeting. I'm not suggesting as I said, that we be involved in this at all, but that it's for the businesses to come together, because it's so critical for the promotion of themselves and the town and the health of their businesses.
I'm more than happy to help Councillor Wiles, I'm more than happy to help. I do feel that the meeting is required with 2 people that are currently on the books for the Chamber of Commerce. And it'd be a good idea is to do what we've done with the tourism forum. So the council help set something up, sort it out, and go, there you go, that's for you. You can run it if that helps.
Just putting my 2 penny worth in. Prior to the last 2-3 events that I ran with the Sandwich Oats, I went through every shop with a specific trader's leaflet, just describing what was going to happen. This went out a month before the actual public brochure that went out. Generally speaking, the traders were very appreciative of being approached, but had there been a Chamber of Commerce or some kind of organisation to be able to go to a single organisation for any of the festivals, an awful lot of what goes on in Sandwich, to actually say, this is going to happen, filter it out to your members, it will be so much easier and I think so much more successful, make everything work better, rather than having to essentially reinvent the wheel every single time. Councillor
I
Wise?
think, traders speak to me and often grumble about, why isn't the council doing this or that? And I try and explain it's not our function, but, clearly there is a leadership role, I think, for us to try and make this happen.
Yeah.
But just a simple thing like shop opening hours. There's a lack of coordination among shopkeepers. When events happen, often you see shops closed, loads of footfall, but the shop is closed because that's their rigid opening hours. There's no flexibility. And some are closed on Mondays. Some of the hobby shops, if you like, are closed 3 or 4 days a week. Some close Wednesday afternoons. But there's no coordination there. And I think a chamber could at least, if it had an effective communication network, could at least say, look, this weekend is the Christmas lights. Stay open. There's going to be thousands of people. It's just a network to try and communicate with their members, to have a proper membership scheme, but also be a focus for authorities and to lobby and to make their voice heard in the wider world.
Last comment.
Yeah, the Chamber of Commerce has been fantastic. It's been great because it used to fund a lot of things as well for the money that they raised. So it used to part fund the Christmas tree on the square every year. So
Okay, if we, one last comment.
Well, no, I was just going to suggest maybe we can form a small group with Councillor Wiles.
Leave me to it.
And then take it further. Personally, I would contact 1 or 2 people informally before we do a big splash. We can talk about
I think it's like a temperature check.
plan of action.
So I'll speak to Councillor Marie and Councillor.
I'm interested in helping as well.
Okay.
As a catalyst.
So maybe the 4 of us
Yeah.
together.
It's a bit like the toys reform. Get it started, rebooted, and off it goes. And
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Right, if we can move on to Sandwich Resilience and Emergency Plan as per original comment.
Yes.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sandwich Resilience and Emergency Plan, made a couple of comments about the other emergency plans. And I would propose to park that until next time, and I will commit to having something a bit more concrete to say, if people are happy with that. Is there any comments about that?
Just to point out, Councillor Mallet, is that I used to be on the Resilience Forum for Thanet and Canterbury, and I've dealt with a lot of emergency plans. I'm more than happy to help you sort that. I've got lots of paperwork at home regarding the Resilience Forum, the Kent Resilience Forum. It's the umbrella of all the ones in the county. So I've got a lot of experience in emergency plans and bits and pieces, so I'm more than happy to
That
help.
would be excellent, unless you want to take that on as a responsibility.
Not
No.
fully. I'll part take responsibility.
Part take
with you.
responsibility.
I've
Okay.
got enough to deal with, or to get roped into things, don't I, Councillor Richard?
Right, if we can move on. Number 12, Braille signage in signage in Sandwich. That's a members to discuss the implementation of Braille signage to improve accessibility. Mrs. George, raised this.
I think I sent you the leaflet that I got
Yeah.
from the Blind Society that was outside. I noticed we had it, they were here again, weren't they, last week, on site. Just thinking about it, I haven't had a look around at the town signs, and I think it would be extraordinarily difficult and probably very expensive to actually have something on all of the signs. But I don't know whether it might be possible to have a leaflet, a booklet that they could be picked up from the Guildhall, that actually took them through the town, but that was written in Braille. And that would be a lot cheaper. And then they could find their way around the town, because most of the blind people do get accompanied with other people, and they could be reading this themselves. And from talking to people who are blind, there they're very visionary, that they see things in their own mind, to have something that they could read. I don't know whether it's done on exactly how it's done now, whether there is anything that they do that's on a laptop. I doubt it, but I don't know. But I think it is something that we should investigate, and I'm very happy to go and talk to them and find out what they do, what they supply, what they would want to collaborate with, and then to see what the cost might be. Because it's not going to be cheap, but
I think that's
but do we have an obligation to, again, to look after people with a disability? And it would be very good for the town as well.
Councillor Lorraine?
Can't this be put in towards the disability access strategy? Couldn't this be like amalgamated into that, so that group looks into it a bit more and stuff? Just frees up the H&T agenda, so and then that group can look at.
It stays on the agenda, but on the access, on the action log. Essentially,
We subsumed that group into this.
Yeah.
Oh,
There is no separate group.
should know that.
Councillor Anderson proposed.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, yeah.
Shall I do some more research?
I think so, yes. If you, I think basically, if there are similar towns which have engaged with the Royal National Institute of Mind, and actually have something that they sort of say is positive and some costs, of course. That would be helpful. Because the other thing is, yes, Braille, but equally, with computers and mobile phones, you've got speech.
Yeah.
So, it might well be that speech actually be able to, have that guide is
I'll find out.
good. Yeah, thank you very much. Number 13, unless anybody has any further on the Braille element, no. Improving the quality of footpaths. Now, this is something that I've asked to be included, to discuss potential strategies for improving local footpaths. I'm looking at it, in a sense, more on a rural element, but I think it is as important for towns, because we do have a little bit of rural element to us, and that is how to encourage private footpaths, because there are many footpaths that go on private land where some of them are dire. They're overgrown, they're mucky, they're just not nice. There's, where many footpaths are to get you out and walking. And that is to consider, and I think this would be something to put to Dover District Council from this committee, a competition, or not so much a competition, but where there is the potential for awards which people can sign up to and sort of say, this footpath is particularly good, needs to be rewarded. So it's the carrot rather than the stick. So people can actually say, hey, my footpath, which is on my land, has just got an award. And I'm really happy, rather than your footpath is horrible. I don't know how people feel about that, or what people's experiences of footpaths are. Councillor?
I have nil experience of footpaths around Sandwich that I can think of that are on private land, so.
That is, but equally, it would apply to councils as well, because if we have footpaths, which are, and it might be something that, because I see them mostly in the rural side, so this might not be appropriate. Councillor?
Recently, I've been having to go to Worth quite a few times, and there are a couple of pathways through there that just before the Dover Deal roundabout, you can cut them through. It's not as bad at the beginning and at the end, it's awful in the middle. And it's not that safe, especially as the evenings draw in. And yet, in a strange way, if you were going to go from school, for example, through those paths, they're really, really mucky, and not good, especially as the light fails. I don't think it's a safe place to be walking through. And yet it cuts off the corner and the traffic. So it's, in some ways, it should be safer. I'm assuming that the path was put there to actually help people to not have to go around round that corner in a walking way. And there are several like that. That strangely enough, yesterday, Dover District Council were there with their strimmers, and they were strimming it. Now, I don't know how far down they actually went, but they were certainly strimming at the beginning of it. So whether or not, that they were going to do something about it because of the complaints, I don't know. But I agree with you, if we could get some footpaths cleaned up and a decent access, and anything that would help.
Councillor Marie?
So I'm going back to my scouting days, so the old ordnance survey maps. I do feel that maybe we should get one of those out one day and have a look where the footpaths are, and see if we can find out who owns land, if we want to cut across the land, and see if the smart look and say, would you like to create a footpath through your...
I don't. Knowing landowners, the answer is no.
That's my concern.
It's more a case of the existing footpaths, trying to find some way of encouraging them to be a little bit better, a little bit more easy to use.
I mean, I do actually use that footpath occasionally, and it is a nice way to go over to Worth. Do we know who owns the land?
No, I don't know.
It's an old road, I believe.
Is it?
I think so.
Yeah, if it's being looked after by the council, then it's most likely council land, because they're not going to.
I do feel that was the old road before they put the roundabout in. It's cut off to the left of Worthgill, cut right to straight up to Sandwich.
Yeah.
It's up to Eastleigh and Ash.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
It's
fine.
quite narrow, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not very wide.
No, it's not. No.
Okay, I'll park that one, and we'll move on to the elephant in the room. The elephant on the quay, to discuss the proposed elephant statue and provide recommendations for support for Sandwich Town Council. Is there anybody who would like to lead on this?
Well, I think I should just talk about it. I suppose the first thing we need to say is that we may feel, it's felt that we owe the tourism forum and town team, Sandwich and Broome, owe the councils an apology. I'd like to explain where we came into this, because I understand it's now got an awful lot of very bad publicity, which is reflected on the town council and I think maybe Dover. When we first spoke to Dover and we spoke with the planning officer and all sorts, we were told that one of the things that needed to happen if you were going to consider putting the elephant on the quay was that you needed to gather sort of momentum and ideas and support, not just from your town council, but from residents and the public at large. So with that in mind, when for a few weeks back, John Landerdall was telephoned completely out of the blue by the press, local press, to say they understood we were considering putting an elephant on the quay. What was the story? John actually contacted both myself and Richard Raff and said, what do you think? Because shall we talk to them? And we said, well, yes, given that we would hope that we'd got something positive from it. John spoke to them, and we know what the conversation was about then. And it was definitely, most definitely, not saying that Sandwich Town Council were going to pay for an elephant on the quay. There was no hint of that. John knew, and I can't talk to John, he's in Madagascar, and he went not long after that conversation. So the it sounds very much as though the story that became into print has been completely adapted from the conversation that John had about it. So he was very clear, because he did speak to us afterwards, that he had said that he had been bought to Sandwich Town Council, who were very supportive of the time about the possibility of having an elephant on the quay, and that Dover also was supportive of doing it. So I don't know where the story then changed or how the story changed, but it did. And it's a sad situation, because now we don't actually know whether or not we're even going to be able to consider putting an elephant on the quay. But we can apologise for talking to the press, but it was not the story that got printed. And I'm sorry.
Yeah, water under the bridge. essentially.
Yeah, so I found the press item here, and the lead statement is Sandwich Town Council proposes to erect elephant statue as magnet for tourism. I mean, so off beat in terms of the truth. Again, I wonder how this was fed to the media. It's not very helpful, because actually it was the response was mediocre, but within the response it was negative. So from people wanting to vent their views about white elephants, and can't council spend money on better things than things like this, etc. Well, we had never said we were going to spend money on it.
So, we should have a blue plaque instead.
We do have a meeting that was arranged before John went to Madagascar with Dover, and I spoke with Richard Ralph this morning. And he believes that we should at least go to a meeting with them and talk through the situation to find out, or to see what damage limitation we can do. But, you know, I mean, I'm quite devastated over it, so.
This is my valid point regarding the press of what we said earlier on. I do believe that John gave good faith in speaking to the press about it, because he wants to promote it. He's been the forefront of it for a long, long time. It's been on the Townscape agenda for a long, long time. So, but it just feels, as I said, the press are becoming a bit naughty the last year or so everywhere, not just the local, but national as well. It's just been misconstrued massively regarding, as I said, the council took the brunt of it, thinking that we're going to spend a certain amount of money on an elephant.
Can I suggest what might well, and I think almost certainly happened? They fed their notes into the computer, they pointed AI at it, and AI generated the story, done. So if there was an indicator, so if AI construes in its non-thinking mind that STC were going to pay, then, you know, even though the notes might have said they're not going to pay, because I use AI, and you have to be so exact, you have to actually write the article.
I think I'm reading it now in detail, so I'm never one for detail. I usually skim read stuff, so I'm now reading it properly. So towards the end, STC is now set to produce a further report to assess the costs before submitting a planning application to Dover District Council and conduct a public consultation. That's not AI. So I don't know who's playing games here, but it's not. It doesn't feel very good.
And this is not.
And sorry, but the other issue, I know that when we spoke about it, we also thought if we could get some real good support and publicity, maybe we should do some crowdfunding for it. If that was that behind it. So this doesn't really make a lot of sense.
No.
There has been a couple of other press releases within local media at the moment. So we do feel, my personal opinion is that someone is drip feeding certain media, press officers within Kent Online.
Just Just a personal comment, isn't this what the press does? They have a certain stereotype, a certain narrative, which is councils are inefficient, councils have got loads of money, but they waste it. And therefore, if it had been proposed a giant aardvark, it wouldn't have had that wonderful word elephant, which goes with the word white. And so the press just churn out stereotypical narratives.
Careful what you say, you'll be having an aardvark.
No, I don't have to be triggered.
My opinion is there's certain elements within the press releases that certain people know about, and it's not many other people in this room even would know about. Do you see what I'm making? So I do feel that they're being given detailed information about certain things, and it's being misled.
Here's a story.
Yes.
Interested.
Yeah.
So, in terms of this particular committee, do we need to say or do anything further on this, or have we discussed it sufficiently?
I don't know, I think, I don't know what we do now for, well, it's not just this committee, is it? It's how do we manage that in terms of removing the idea that Sandwich Town Council were willing to fund.
So,
Sorry, I think it writes itself in time.
Yeah, it
because
does.
I think we're so used to what we read often being rubbish. Could the town team maybe take ownership of it in terms of all the, and just carry on in that sense?
So I don't think, I think the story is there, so it's been published, it's in the past, it's 2 weeks old, 3 weeks old.
Yeah.
What we've got is an agreement that Sandwich Town Council supports the principle, but it's not intending to invest any money in it. That can obviously be revisited, but that's certainly the position. And the instigators of the project are engaging with DDC. Let it go its course.
And that's exactly where we are.
Yeah.
So,
Carol, I would suggest that as a member of the town team and Tories Forum, we carry on.
yeah.
We just carry on.
As Councillor Jim has just said, the council agree with principle that it's a good idea. However, we are not going to be issuing any funding. That's minuted documentation as well.
Yeah.
So,
Yes, we're supportive of the idea that it will bring tourism or it enhance tourism.
well, we'll see where we get to with them. So I suggest they might be just as.
I just wonder that, yes, it might, undermine their
Does there's anything positive or otherwise on this one? Maintenance, number 15, maintenance and clearing of grills, drains and the Delft stream. Members to consider actions, actions for the maintenance and clearing of drains, I'll say it all over again, drains, gutters and the Delft stream, following the recent wet weather.
This was raised by Councillor Paul Carter, who wished this to be an agenda item, but is not here this evening.
Right.
So I don't know if you wish to discuss.
Is there anything that anybody can comment? No.
Now, we know the responsibility for all of that sits elsewhere, but all of us, in shapes and forms, will do stuff to benefit the town. Some of us actually do things like clear gullies and waterways, as myself and Councillor Ripley did.
Well,
my opinion would be as well is this could be part of the community caretaker scheme.
Exactly.
It doesn't need to be this. Yeah, it's not our remit.
I have some drains, gutters, and not gutters. But they're all on my land, so I'm rather stuck with that.
So but formally, what I would suggest you go back to Councillor Carpenter and if he wants, in his absence, does he want to bring it back to the next meeting?
Yes, I think we'll do that. So we can ask if he wants to actually raise that, because this actually goes into resilience, because because the drains and gutters and Delft stream is clogged, our resilience is less. So if we're having floods because the things that stop the floods are not working.
But in terms of the Delft stream, a number of us have many times, and there's a number of people in this room have cleared the Delft stream. We've done it half a dozen times.
Yes.
So, the support, the desire to do these things exists.
Right, number 16, items for information only. This is not to be discussed now, but matters for possibly the November meeting. Is there anything that people want to raise now or raise it during the coming couple of months? That would be great, just to feed into the agenda. No, in that case, we'll move on to number 17, date and time of next meeting, 12th November 2025. And
It's quarter to eight.
it's quarter. Oh, I think that's the fastest Heritage and Townscape meeting. Yes, please.